Good news, my YouTube friends. I got I'll say a fact that the stock fan, radiator fan, is 19 inches side to side. You know, my fan was sticking out too far, so I got an 18 inch. They didn't have the OEM 18 inch, but I was able to get on eBay and get what I believe to be a GM OEM 1 inch spacer. I got to sand this knob down a little bit for it to fit down in there. But the reason I think I'm still going with the 19 inch is because I just took the body mount out. The body mounts from who knows where. That's one of the mini bags that they come in, which if you were to go this route, I think this was, well, I know now, I remember it was Classic Industry. Here's their box that the fan came in. Don't have a good, there it is, complete Classic Industries box that my fan came in. Okay, so yeah, if you get the shims from Classic Industries, all is well, except when you put it together in this order: bolt, washer, you know, the big washer on top of this little piece, and then the big piece on the bottom. The big piece on the bottom right here rests on the chassis, so I'm not saying for sure that you need this nut that came off of the car with the big flange washer, and it turns inside the washer. So yeah, if you put this on the bottom of that, when you're putting these two together, slipping that on, then it's just got to be all that much better. And mine are all 3/4 inch, which is surprisingly, because I've seen some videos that they were a different size, but these are all 3/4 inch, you know, this nut and this nut. So minor detail, but I can and will use this instead of this and a little lock washer. I think this is much better. If you're going to use this, that's the missing part, is that this needs a washer. I would say a washer about this size. So you have a washer, lock washer, nut, if you're going to use these stock ones. I'm reusing that one. Now the best thing I found is that this is the old one that I took out, and how thin it is compared to this replacement one. Yeah, the big one. So my fan wouldn't fit my shroud by 1 inch, and I think I'm going to get it back right there. I've learned enough from doing shocks that you stop tightening when the rubber begins to bow. Just when it begins to bow, it's tight enough. But I did see on another video, YouTube video, talking about body bushings, he said the torque value is 75 foot-pounds. So we'll go with that too. All right, I got both the old shims out. I'm gonna put this new one in. So I'm gonna jack up the radiator core support, you know, the fan shroud, jack this up far enough to get this in place. Well, that'll be a little too far, of course, because when I set it down, and then even more when I compress it, it'll be a little shorter than it is, you know, to get it in place. So watch me jack it up. I want to see how high it goes. hear the rust giving way. Okay, there it just slid in. One of them did. I thought it'd be a good idea to show you old versus new. That's exactly how the old one came out. This middle one, quite a bit more shallow than that one. I really think that'll help me get my fan in there. Yeah, I had to put the channel locks, the vice grips, I'm sorry, up on top of the bolt, and then get the deep well socket down in there. And then that trusty jack handle. That jack handle comes off and goes over the end of the breakover bar, and that's where you get the leverage. And then it came right off. So yeah, let's put this together and see what difference it makes. Here's an interesting little fact. I had that shiny washer and the little plastic piece on top of there so that I couldn't see it. And then I noticed that it wasn't going down all the way. So that little shim in the side of the rubber, oh, that's a good shot. Minus the glare. See how it's not lined up. So obviously I'm going to jack it up a little bit, pull it over, and then that'll get in there. Man, if I had just started tightening it up right there, thinking it was final, no bueno. There we go, kinda. Let's see. I think the washer, that shiny thing on the right, or bottom, I don't know what you're looking at. I can't lower it while yeah, I can. So, let's see, I don't want to get that washer wedged between the battery tray, which is kind of rusty. Probably end up getting a new battery tray. Everything else around it looks so good. So I know I used a deep socket on this one. See where the rust stops? Hard to point at it. So I think that nut was all the way up there. And just remember how compressed these were. So that's why it was up so high. Being that it was a deep socket I used, I figured these would be long enough. I got it all together in there, and I got maybe one complete revolution on the nut. And sure enough, maybe two more to tighten it up. There's nothing wrong with the old bolts. So I'm going to use those, the factory ones. So even better than under the battery tray, live and learn. Not only get the metal in the middle, but that rubber. So I got the rubber all the way up in there by letting it set down all the way. Now by letting it set down all the way, I think I've misaligned the bolt hole a little bit. But let me just see if it'll drop in there. Just set this, because this little rubber thing goes on the outside of that piece there. So I'll just set it in there, kind of feel its orientation. I'm sorry you can't see like I can see. There's the hole, and that feels right. Let me see if I can just by chance drop this bolt right through there. Good enough. Yeah, and I know that one's in, so I'm putting a nut on that and then lift this other side up and do it over. So yeah, it was off. You got to put that round rubber piece, you got to put it up in there. And right now I need to lower it down so it stays there. So I'll lower it down, press it in with the subframe, and then I can put the top piece on. I am totally happy with my 18-inch fan being on the water pump. I don't have the bolts in it yet because I noticed little different designs, so I still got an inch sticking out. So I'm going to change that 1-inch spacer to a 2-inch spacer. So no sense bolting it in, but it certainly looks like it's going to clear. And that's what my goal was. So go spend some more money.